Personality development and non-verbal communication, they are integral components of our personal and professional lives. As we gather here today, we anticipate an engaging and enlightening session that will delve into the intricacies of personality development and a subtle art of non-verbal communication. Dr. Soni's expertise will undoubtedly shed light on how we can harness these aspects to enhance our interactions, build stronger relationships, navigate the complexities of modern world with confidence. I encourage each and every one of you to actively engage with Dr. Soni's presentation. Take this opportunity to absorb the wealth of knowledge she imparts and, more importantly, pose questions that will resonate with your own experiences and aspirations. Wishing you an enlightening and enriching experience ahead. Thank you.
Her area of expertise is in management, marketing, advertising, and communication. She is passionate about personality development, confidence building, nonverbal communication, and civic duties. She is the director of LJ Institute of Media and Communications. She has published her papers in national and international journals and is a member of Academic and Research Council at LJ University.
She has delivered various lectures at different universities and believes in interacting with students from all walks of life. She exemplifies the essence of continuous self-improvement and resilience. With a career that resonates with success, Dr. Divya brings to us a wealth of wisdom that extends beyond professional achievements to encompass personal growth and empowerment.
To add a poetic touch to our exploration, let us reflect on these lines by Maya Angelou. I have learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
These words echo the profound impact of nonverbal cues, reminding us that our actions and expressions leave lasting imprints on others. Now, I would like to invite our chief guest, Ms. Divya Soni, to enlighten us with her words of wisdom. Ma'am, please take.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, I would like to thank Professor Dr. Rama, Dr. Janeshwari ma'am, and Dr. Manisha for welcoming me for this session. And I would want to thank Alisha and Aditya for the wonderful introduction. The time that we have on hand, let us try to make the most of it. I see a lot of interested students who are committed to self-growth and personal development. It makes me very happy. On a weekend, you have spared time for this session. Let us try to make the most out of the session. We'll get quickly started with the session. I'm really hoping that this session, it is just a 1 hour interaction, but sometimes even 1 minute of screen time or something that you heard can really create a great impact. Let us hope the session is impactful. And as I will be presenting, I would not be able to see the screen. So what I would request all the participants to do is, whatever question or suggestion or you want to make a contribution, write in the chat box. Once we are through with the session, I would want to interact with you, and we'll spare some time for that. Shall we get started? And am I completely audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Perfect. So let us get started with the presentation. Great. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now, the topic, as you already know, is personality development and communication skills. And the reason why I have selected the topic is because personality and nonverbal communication makes a major portion of what we communicate. This is a generation of communication. And when 70 to 90% of what you communicate comes through nonverbal communication, this topic becomes important. So what will we touch upon in today's session? One is, what is a personality and why should personality development be important? Third is that what can you do? And I will share some interesting exercises that you can carry on even after the session. If you make it a part of your regular day-to-day thing, then trust me, it will have some remarkable results. So the third thing is, what can I do to develop my personality. We'll touch upon what is communication and why is communication so important. And lastly, skills or let's say exercises that you need to put to use so that you develop better communication skills. Now, to the main topic of discussion, what is a personality? So, everyone in the session knows what a personality is, but I've taken up two simple meanings. One is that a way in which an individual reacts and interacts with people. In the simplest of the term, the way I think, what my feelings are, it will be reflected in how I behave and conduct myself. So, the sum total of ways of interacting and reacting is your personality. But it is very difficult for us to understand who we are. So, this session essentially what it will do is it will help you in the journey of self awareness. The first step for self development or growth is self awareness, understanding who we are. So, what I have done is I have come up with a simple model. It is a most discussed personality type model. I'm sure some of you have studied it as well. Let us take a look at what the model is. It will kind of help you in classifying what kind of a personality you have. Yeah. Now, this is a five-factor model of personality, one of the most discussed models. It is also known as OCEAN. It is an acronym for the five terms that I've written on the slide. Now, before we try to understand where are we in the five, let me first explain what they are. The first one is openness to experience. Before I explain that, kindly focus on this. What are we doing in this slide? This slide says that there are five traits that a person can have. Some people will have this trait, let's say, to a large extent, and some people will have it on a lesser extent. So we will later on classify ourselves and where do we fit in. Okay, this is not for classifying your friends; it is for classifying your own self. So, what is the first trait? The first trait says openness to experience. Now, what does that mean? Let me give a small example. There are certain personality types who are very high on this trait. They would want to experience new things, they would want to try out new activities. They are curious, they are innovative. So, अगर कोई दोस्त कहेगा कि ये कोई नई एक्टिविटी हो रही है कॉलेज में, he is the first one who will go and register himself. So, if you are high on openness, you are very curious, you are innovative. If you are low on openness to experience, you are a person who likes to be in comfort zone, who likes to be in a familiar zone, who is not very, excited with the idea of something new. That is what this trait is. So I'm just taking up two classifications. Openness to experience can be high. Openness to experience can be low. These are the two personality types. I hope I'm making sense. Let us move to the second trait, that is conscientiousness. Now, what do we mean by conscientiousness? A person who is high on this trait will be very responsible, will be hardworking. This person is somebody who is always aware of consequences. So, when this person is taking a decision, he will weigh what is good, what is bad. And supposingly, this person is going out somewhere and has told his parent that he'll be back by 6 o'clock. And if he's not back, he's going to call or he's going to message. So he is responsible. These are small ways in knowing whether your conscientiousness is high or it is low. Right? Let us move on to the third trait. After this slide, I will stop presenting and I'll interact a bit and then I'll again go back to the presentation. Look at the third trait. Now, this is, I think, the most talked about trait, extroverts and introverts and ambiverts. So, what is extraversion? Extraversion can be high, so we can call those people extroverts. And if this trait is low, those people will be introverts. Somewhere in between, they'll be ambiverts. Now, what is extraversion? Extraversion is high, then a person really is interested in meeting, he's outgoing, he likes meeting new people. He's outgoing, he communicates. When he is surrounded by a person, a group of people, he will be energized. You function the best when you're on one person who would want to work in isolation if your extroversion is low. So this trait can be high and this trait can be low, and these are two personality types. Let us go on the fourth trait, and that is agreeableness. Now, what is agreeableness? If a person is high on agreeableness, this person is very kind, very friendly, very cooperative. हर एक ग्रुप में एक ऐसा दोस्त होता है जो हर चीज में हाँ कहता है, right? So that person is high on agreeableness. If you are low on agreeableness, you are one person who can say no, right? You are not known for your cooperation, or you will not make friends very easily. So your agreeableness is low. And let us take a look at the fifth trait, that is neuroticism. Now, what do we mean by neuroticism? If a person is emotionally stable, to put it in a better way, the person wears his heart on his sleeve. He'll react to situations. He's very emotional. And if a person is low on neuroticism, this person is very practical. He will not get very emotional in situations. Is more in control of his or her emotions if the person is low on neuroticism. Now, I think I've explained the slide. What I will do is I will take a pause and I will come back to the chat, because if there are any questions at this juncture, I think that I should be able to answer them and then move on with the next slide. So give me just one quick second. Yes. So I am looking at the chat. Please tell me, so far, are you with me? So far, you're getting the classification that we are doing of the personality types. If you have any questions about any of the traits, ask me. And if there are no questions, perfect. I see a lot of people raising their thumbs. So I think you're getting it. So let me go back to my slide. I'm starting to present again. Now, what are we supposed to do? You know these traits now. This is just one example. There are multiple ways of classifying your personality types. In most of the workshops, what I see students do is immediately they'll start classifying their friends. Tu aisi hai, tu ye hai, high neuroticism, matlab this person. We are not doing that. We have to do exercises in this session or after the session. It will really help you. So immediately what you do is you start classifying your own self. That where do I stand on these 5 traits? I'm again starting with the presentation. Give me a quick minute. So let us go on to the next slide. Now, why is this topic important? Why should you study personality development anyways? So one is, when you have a personality that you like, it's not how others like it. The first thing is you should like your personality. If you think that you have a good personality, a confident personality, it makes you more confident, improves your self-image, how you see your own self. It also gives you more opportunities to work and collaborate. So most of the times when we appear for an interview or appraisal, personality type will definitely appeal. A lot of organizations look at the perfect fit between the job requirement and the personality. So I think that is an area which it really helps. So it improves your employability quotient, gives you a competitive edge. So अगर आप 100 लोगों को, if you look at a group of 100 people, there are 2 to 3 people who will always attract more attention or will seemingly look more confident. So because of their personality type, they can get a competitive edge. They can find a career that suits their personality. And of course, they will learn how to become adaptable. So personality is not a fixed thing. Does it change? Yes, it can change. It does not completely change, but you can adapt it to the kind of person you want to become, so that better work opportunities or better personal growth can happen. And the last one is it only for your professional success? No. Even in your personal life, a good personality will definitely give you better results. So that is why we are touching upon this topic. Now, here comes the first exercise. You can do this later on. You can do it while the session is going on. know what is your personality type. Now, how can you know what's your personality type? One is this ocean model that I shared. You can classify it. Sometimes your friends and family who interact with you keep giving inputs. Sometimes people say that when I first met you, I thought you are this and this, but you are not at all like that. So, any cues that come from your friends or your teachers or people you interact with can be used here to classify who you actually are. Let us look at the second exercise. This is one of my favorite exercises. I recommend it to professionals also, to students also. I do it myself also. SWOT analysis. It's an acronym. I'm sure all of you already know. S is for strength, W for weakness, O for opportunity, T for threat. Now, what do we do in this exercise? We just divide a page into 4 parts. Strength is something positive that you possess in your personality that you like and others like as well. Weakness is something that you have in your personality, but do not necessarily think it is positive. It is some negative aspect of your personality that you jot down there. Opportunity is, now how do you identify opportunity? Any activities in your area or in your network or people who are near you, any activity where you can put your skills to use is an opportunity. So let me give a simple example. Let's say Aditya, because he right now did a bit of anchoring. So if Aditya thinks that he is good at verbal communication and anchoring, then that is his strength. He should find out that is there any college activity, anything in my area, any opportunity or activity where I can put ma'am, can I do the anchoring bit? So that is your opportunity. And what is a threat? Things that you or opportunities that you would miss out because of your weaknesses. You need to identify that. Mostly SWOT analysis should be done every 6 months to know in which direction are you headed. If your SWOT looks similar over a cycle of 6 months, that means your self growth is not at an accelerated rate. Trust me, please try this exercise and you can reach out to me any day when you complete this exercise. Okay. Let us move on to the next slide. This is one of the most interesting exercises. It is very simple, doesn't take a lot of time. What is exercise 3? We try to find people whose personality we like. So I'm sure that there is somebody, let's say there is a neighbor or you have a cousin or you are interning with somebody and you have a boss or you have a teacher whose personality you really like. It can also be a celebrity. Sorry. Now, what are we supposed to do? You write the names of people you know or people you adore who have great personality and then jot down what are their personality traits that you value them for. I have shown 2 photos here. One is Dhoni because I think irrespective of which city you are from or which age group you are, he's really loved. So that's why I've put up his photo. It can be anyone for you. And second is Sudha Murthy. Again, I have hardly met people who say they don't like her. That's why I've put up her photo. And third is, why is it a question mark? Third, eventually, one personality that you really like, the third photo should be yours. That is our goal. So this is the third exercise that you can do. Let us move on further. Now, okay, this was all theory. What should I do to develop my personality? We just did that. The first thing is we understand who we are. And this step will require a lot of honesty. Whatever our weaknesses and the SWOT analysis, just one tip from my side, when you're doing SWOT analysis, do not do it with your friends. Don't show it to your family. It is supposed to be done on a piece of paper which nobody is going to read. So if you do it very honestly, you'll understand who you are. That is the first step. Second is take charge and see where your strengths can be used. Anything in your personality which you think is positive has to be put to action. You say, I'm a great writer. You keep writing in a diary. That is not enough. That diary needs to, the written piece should travel from the diary to a blog or to an article or to a published book, whatever it is, but you have to take charge and take some action for your strengths only. The third part, which is a long-term goal for developing a personality, is You learn, but you unlearn as well, and then you adapt. Now, when we say adapt, we are saying changing. I let's say right now I have certain weaknesses in my personality. I only take up activities which show my strengths. But later on, I will have to learn those skills so that my weaknesses can go down. So let me simply give an example. You are somebody who's exceptionally good with written communication. But when it comes to public speaking is your weakness. So if that is your weakness right now in your SWOT, it's okay. But in future, your long-term goal has to be, I want to be able to overcome that weakness. I want to adapt my personality. I also want to rock a public speech someday in some event. That should be one of your goals. And that is for long-term. I hope I'm making sense. And let's move on to the next slide. Now, this is very important. We will talk about communication. And why should we talk about communication again? We continuously communicate, whether it is with someone, whether it is with our own self talk, or whether we are observing certain things. That is also a part of communication. So we look at something and we start interpreting it. So we are drawing meaning out of things, people, our own selves. And that is why this is one of the most important topics that should be discussed. Now let us try to understand what is communication. Very simple meaning I've taken right now as a speaker, because abhi tak to one way communication hai. So I'm trying to send some message. There is some understanding happening at your end. That is communication. So the process of sending information or message from there is one sender, there is one receiver, and the communication process ends or is complete when there is feedback. So if you just saw, I paused my screen because I can't see you right now. All I can see on my screen is the slide. So what did I do? I paused, I stopped presenting, I asked that, are you with me? You gave me a thumbs up, and that completes the loop of communication. There is some feedback. I hope I'm making sense. Now, we know what is communication, but what do we discuss in this session? So we'll go further on. Why is communication so important? So when we are able to communicate properly, properly का definition अलग हो सकता है, but when we are able to communicate, then it really increases our confidence. Let me take one more minute here. A lot of times I see that people in my workshops tell me that, ma'am, what we exactly want to communicate, we are not able to do that. Or sometimes we communicate that, but the other person takes it in a different way. So when you are able to transfer meaning the way in which you intend to, then it is effective communication. And when you're able to do that, it really increases your confidence. You want to communicate further because you think that you're becoming successful at it, right? So one, it will make you a confident person. Second, your interpersonal skills, how you are able to manage and deal with other people. See, this is going to be a most important thing in no matter what you do, whether you take up a job, you're a freelancer, you come up with a business of your own, you'll have to deal with people or clients or customers. So how can you communicate well with other people? Interpersonal communications will improve. Third is employability quotient. And if I can add, not just employability, even your the possibility of you getting promoted to higher ranks will definitely depend on how well-rounded communication you are able to do. The fourth is you become a good leader. Now, leadership skills again are very talked about, but when you want a group of people to believe in you, you really need to communicate well. Only then will a person go out of their way to follow or to be with you or to be on the same page with you. And that's why we are saying anyone who communicates well will definitely become an effective leader. And the last couple of benefits is that you can collaborate more. So because hum dekho online mil rahe, so I can't do this, but most of the workshops, what I ask the students is, before I come, the students and the participants are already sitting in the class, right? So I come and I ask them that before I entered the class, how many of you have met people sitting on your left and right and interacted? There are some people जो पूरा workshop खत्म हो जाता है and they don't say hi to the person sitting next to them. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but when we do not communicate, we lose out on opportunities of collaboration. So just I'm giving you one example. If there is a participant in a workshop like this, जो आपके बाजू में बैठा है, imagine we are in an offline workshop. आप उसको पूछते हो कि क्या है भाई, क्यों वर्कशॉप करने आए हो, अच्छा जा रहा है ये वो. There is a possibility he says that, Sunday there is another workshop that I'm going to and it is on this topic. You just lost out on an opportunity of knowing what you could have done with this person or sharing knowledge. If you communicate, collaboration opportunities will increase. Next is for better relationships, professional relationships and personal relationships. When you communicate well, even your family members, your parents, your friends can value you for the person you are because you continuously make an effort in communicating. And the last is conflict resolution. In fact, sometimes, not always, but sometimes the conflict is coming out from miscommunication. Somebody said something, the tone was not proper, or it was misunderstood, and it can result into conflict. But if you're good at communication, you can solve those problems by just being, proactive. I hope I have made sense in the slide, and let us now move on further. Now, these are communication skills, or you can also say communication types. I think most of you are familiar to all the four. I will try to explain the four, then stop the presentation for a brief moment, and then look at the chat box. Now, what are these four things written on the slide? The first one is oral. If you see the first and the third one, oral and written, can be combined as verbal communication. It's बहुत simple in this, if I can say in one sentence, when you use words to communicate, some vocabulary, some words are being used. If they are being spoken, it is oral. If they are being written, it will fall in the third one. Now, what is oral communication? Oral communication is when you speak. So it can be right now, if I'm speaking to you, the spoken word, it can be on the phone, it can be digital, it can be face to face. But oral communication sometimes can be better and can be more impactful than written. So your skill sets will vary. A lot of people tell me that, ma'am, oral is always better than written. That is absolutely, it is not based on any theory. It is not based on any empirical evidence. People just make up this. It's not the fact that written is always better than oral. No, we can't say that. We can't say one is better than two or two is better than three. But all the four are effective in different situations. And how do we learn that? We learn that through experience and practice. But right now, one is that we speak well. There are some participants in this session who might be exceptionally good with oral but bad with written, or who are exceptionally good with written word. They can write really well, but when it comes to speaking in the class or raising their hand or coming on the stage or in front of a camera, they're like, no, I can't do that. So oral skill sets are different than written. Let us take up the visual communication. Now, what is visual? I think we have become very visual over the past few years, thanks to the digital transformation. What do we mean by visuals? The aesthetics of it, the visuals that we see. A lot of you communicate through memes, through a video, through a funny, let's say, stickers, emoticons. All of that would fall in visual communication. So, instead of writing something, you would prefer that let me just send a sticker, or a lot of people just want to communicate through memes only. All of that would fall under visual communication. What is the written communication? Written word. So written word can be an email, can be letters, can be brochures, can be websites, can be blogs. All of that would come under written communication. And the fourth one is the one that we are discussing today, and that is non-verbal. Now, what do we mean by non-verbal communication? I am going on to the next slide. What does non-verbal incorporate? All those things which are not communicated through words. So let's say some of you might judge me or interpret what I'm saying by the way I'm looking or the tone of my voice. It can be different for everyone, but it is not the spoken word on which you are judging or the written word on which you are evaluating a person. That is non-verbal. Now, I'll quickly go back. I will try to understand if you are with me. Just give me 1 second. I would want to look at the chat box and hopefully understand whether you're with me or not. So please tell me. Yeah, the questions we will take up after the presentation, but you can put it in the chat. Tell me, so far, are you with me? You are understanding the classification that we just did? Great. See, if you are not with me, somebody has raised a hand, so they can go ahead. If they have a question, you can ask me right now, and then we will move on further. Because going on further, we are discussing that what all things are incorporated in non-verbal and what are the exercises that we can do. That is the next thing that I'm going to discuss. So, so far, do we have any questions on this slide? Okay, so you understand the classification. Great. So again, I will start presenting and go back to my slide. Yeah. Give me one quick second. Yes. Now, moving on to the next slide. Now, why should I improve my? What should I do to improve my communication skills? Abhi, every individual might have different communication skill sets. So, let's say somebody is very good with communicating only to a small group of people. दो तीन लोगों में अगर communicate करना है, they're very good. But when they have to address 100 people, 50 people, 100 eyes looking at them, they are not able to communicate. So, इधर क्या हो रहा है? Their interpersonal communication is really good, but public speaking is bad. So again, there are some people whose oral skills are bad and written are good, or written is good and oral is bad. So everyone in the session will have different communication skill sets. Some people are very good with professional communication and exceptionally bad with personal or social communication. They're like, I can't do small talk. I will not go and say hi, bacche kaise hai, aap kaise ho. They don't do that. So everyone will have a very different skill sets and a different weakness when it comes to communication. But what I've done is I've tried to make a list of things which work for everyone. So आपका जो भी communication poor है, but it can be used for everyone, by everyone. Let us see what is the first tip. First is read a lot. Now, I know it is one of the things that is recommended by all the teachers, and students don't necessarily enjoy this suggestion. But what reading essentially does is that, one, it transfers meaning. It is a great place of understanding how people perceive things, how they look at things, how they interpret things. So, how a human thought process works can be known by reading. And what reading does is it also helps you imagine. So, let's say if you read in today's newspaper, let us hope that we read this in tomorrow's newspaper, that all the workers in the tunnel are freed and they take off the first breath in under the sky, or they are out of the tunnel. Now, when you read this, you are able to visualize what would happen there. So, reading helps you with imagination also and with idea generation also, which is very important in communication. The second exercise is listening carefully. Now, why have I added the word carefully here? Listening is important. But sometimes effective communication happens when you listen to the things that are being said, but you're also listening to the things that are not being said. So, let's say, let me quickly give you an example. You are running late. Let's say you went out on a party and your mother had told you to be home by 10 or 11 or whatever the deadline is. And the deadline is way past and you come home 2 hours after that. You're supposed to come home by 10. You're there at 12. You haven't called your mom. You haven't messaged that you're getting late. She opens the door. Now, when she opens the door, this is a visual. Now, I just painted a visual. You're listening to me. Some of you are not just visualizing it, you're also interpreting what is about to happen. Okay, let us further on take this example. Your mother says, "Oh, why are you home so early?" Now, this is the spoken word. But what are you listening to? Do you interpret this as that, oh, she's very happy with me, or she's surprised that I'm so punctual? No, you understand the sarcasm. You know something bad is about to follow this statement. So what is listening? Listening is not just the spoken word, also the unspoken word. If your mom adds another sentence that why are you home so early? Why don't you go out and come when the sun rises? So you realize that this is not an instruction. You will not take an action of going back to the party and coming home. So listening will also be an important and crucial way of developing communication. This is just a very basic example that we already do, but it can be taken up further on. Third is writing practice. So writing could be digitally on your keyboard or whatever it is, but writing in full sentences. Now, why is writing important? Sometimes we think that we make a lot of sense, but that sense has to be made on a mail or on a report. So I want to give you a small example. I recently received a message from a colleague, and the colleague said that he sent me a WhatsApp message. And sorry, it was a movie screening. It was not it was not housewarming. It was movie screening. I had to reply back to the person saying, "Okay, hi, I am also excited. Please tell me what is the venue, what is the date, what is the time." You're so excited that you don't even complete the message. Where am I supposed to go? So, written communication, how to write a well-rounded mail or a message has to come from practice only. That's why we are saying writing practice. The next three suggestions, two suggestions are difficult ones to explain, so I'll try my best. Understanding your audience. Who am I talking to? So right now, before joining this session, I think yesterday I messaged Manisha ma'am and said that, okay, who's the audience? Like, how many participants are there? From which stream are they coming? So if I have an understanding of an age group or the exact nature of the audience, I can deliver better. If the same session I have to take in, let's say, school kids, the examples or the slides or what I discuss has to be different because the audience is different. So having an understanding of who we are talking to should be important. The next is understanding the medium. This is the toughest and the most interesting thing that I would want to discuss today. And what do we mean by that? For every medium, the same communication will have a different impact. I'll explain this. I have some exercises lined up, so I'll explain this. And the last one is everybody who thinks that they are not good at communication, and you look at your friends or you look at other people in your office and you think that this person is so good, trust me, the only reason why a person is good at communication is because they practice it. There is no other way of being good. It is not a natural thing that you're good with communication. You learned it and you put it to practice. Let us go to the next slide. Now, these are the components of non-verbal communication and very commonly known by students. What is your body language? Body language में आता क्या है? What all is included? Your posture is included. I'll show you certain things जितना possible है online. I'll try and show it to you. So postures communicate what your intention is, what your energy is, whether your posture is in sync with what you're saying. So your body posture communicates. Second is your gestures. So gestures essentially is what you do with your hands, what you do with your face. Third is facial expressions. So is your face expressive and does it express the right things? Is it in sync with what you're saying? Is communicated through your face. Appearance. Appearance is apart from your body language. How do you appear? So it will include the clothing that you have or the styling that you're doing. That is your appearance. The next one is grooming. and etiquette. So grooming essentially is like, let's say you've shaved your face, or your hair is proper, your nails are proper. So all that is grooming. Etiquettes is that when you, let's say, greet a person, or when you hold a door for them, or when you wait for an elderly to, you know, go in the lift before you, all those are etiquettes. The next one is voice. Now, majority of the students and the participants feel that, ma'am, we are born with a voice. What do we do? No. If your voice is very shrill, or if your voice is very husky, how do you use your voice to communicate effectively? And the next one is tone. So, a lot of times, everything is proper. The entire sentence and the communication that is happening is proper, just the tone is bad. So you will just want to say, if a friend says, "Can you please do this to me?" and you say a no, it is just one word that you said, but the tone will make a lot of difference on how you're communicating. So a combination of all of this is your non-verbal communication. I will give you examples. I hope the components is clear by now. Now the exercises part. I think this is the fun part. Mostly these exercises take a couple of days to be done, but I'm sharing them, and I would request the students or the participants to take screenshots of this. All the exercises take screenshots so that you can do them later on. Now, what is the first exercise that I'm recommending? Participate in activities around communication. So if there is, let's say, college mein poster lagta hai that there is an essay competition, or there is a public speaking event, or there is an anchoring event happening, or there is a debate happening. If you are not participating, at least go there as an audience. Please do that. So that will really help. It's a great way of learning. The second is understand and observe how leaders communicate. So let me just give you an example. Abhi yaad aaya ekdam se, so I'm sharing it. I had one of the photos of Dhoni in the personality that people like. Now I'm comparing language. One is MS Dhoni, second is Virat Kohli. Now, both these people are hugely loved. They belong to the same sport, they belong to the same team. All of us look up to them. But can you compare their personalities and body language? Isn't it? He is known to be Mr. Cool, or almost people compare his demeanor to a saint. That, okay, even when he is hitting a winning six in the World Cup, he will just stand there. He's not going to rejoice or shout or jump. And here's a Virat Kohli in the first match of the World Cup, the first wicket you take, his expressions would be as if he's already won the World Cup. So how do people communicate through their bodies? And people that you like, or people who have leadership skills, you can observe that. And why am I giving this example? Why compare a Virat Kohli to Dhoni? I really want to tell the participants that there is no specific formula that only this personality type works. All the personality types work. It depends on how effective you are able to communicate your emotion or what you want to communicate with your audience. Yeah? The third part is practice the art of non-verbal communication. अब वो क्या करना है उसमें? I have further on exercises. So let us take a look at them. Now this is an interesting. This is a exercise you can do with a group. ये दोस्तों के साथ, आपके क्लास के साथ हो सकती है. Writing first impressions. Now, what does that mean? Sometimes the way right now, see, I have not interacted with you, or you meet somebody and you just met somebody for 5 minutes, or you've just seen them. Before interacting with them, sometimes we make an impression of what kind of a person he or she is. Is this a very good thing to do? No, we can go in a debate. I don't do it. Why are people judging me? That's a separate debate. But is it being done? Yes, it definitely gets done. So, what are first impressions? Without interacting with a person or on minimal interaction, you interpret what the person is. That is first impression. Now, why are we discussing first impression? Sometimes first impression is the only opportunity we get. So, the entire evaluation of a person can be done on first impression. Why would that happen? If we do not get further on opportunity to interact, the first thing you need to ask people around you the first day that they met you. So ये अलग अलग तरीके से होता है. One of the things that we do in the workshop is everybody supposed to wear, people are wearing that t-shirt, पीछे there is a poster that we stick and we write first impression. And the person will roam around in the class and people can write what did they think of this person when they met him or her for the first time. So अब ये exercise से help कहाँ होगी? I'm sure some of you have had an experience where your friend says that, when I saw you for the first time in the class, I really thought you are a very hoity-toity person, or you're very loud, or you're insensitive, or whatever. I thought you're very egoistic, but you're so friendly. Now, don't see this as a compliment. Don't think that, okay, my first impression was wrong. Why did a person think that you're egoistical person in the first place? You're giving out some cues which are not in the right direction, especially if you are not that person. So if you are a very friendly person and people think that you are very aggressive, something is very wrong with your body language. So this is a good place to find out what you're doing wrong. That is the first exercise. Sorry. Now, this is exercise number 2. It is a little bit difficult to do. Changing the medium and keeping the message same. Please jot this down, take a screenshot, and I will show you the third exercise also. I'll explain both. Trying different mediums for communicating. So there are two exercises. Exercise number 2, changing the medium, keeping the message same. And next is trying different mediums for communicating. I'll explain both of these. Let's say, for this, I will have to stop presenting and I'll have to ask a question. One or two of you can switch on your video and give me an answer, so it'll be better for me. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, so I will ask a question, and one or two of the participants can give me an answer. We want to do this exercise, that's why we are doing this. You remember the exercise? What was the sentence? Changing the medium and the message changes or remains the
It
same?
remains the same.
It remains the same. So I will ask a question. You can give me an answer. Is everyone here? Does everyone have an Instagram account? I'm assuming that you do. You're on Insta. Okay. So anybody who feels comfortable in the chat or by unmuting themselves, they can give me an answer. Let's say one of your friend poses a beautiful photo of him hiking in the woods or on the mountaintop or somewhere the person is traveling. Okay. Now, when you look at the photos of your friends, what is the first reaction or the most common reaction how do you comment on your friend's photo? The most common way of doing it. If somebody wants to share or many of you want to share, I'll appreciate that. You're going to like or you're going to comment, okay? So, but like, you're just going to hit the heart button or you're going to do something other than that. आपके पिछले 10-15 जो भी रिएक्शन है दोस्तों के फोटो पे, what is that reaction? You're going to comment. Somebody saying you're going to comment. What are you going to comment? Any? Wow, looking nice. Okay. Thank you, Aditi. If that friend is close, I would like to give a comment. Otherwise, I'll keep quiet. I'll look at everything that the person is posting, but I'll not comment. Okay. Why? Because commenting is a lot of commitment. I can understand. Now, some people are saying both. Now, let me ask this question. It might sound a little bit strange. You're saying, wow, looking nice is a comment. Which kind of communication is this? Is this written communication or oral communication? This is written, verbal communication, right? Is it digital communication? Yes. Is it personal communication or it is happening on a platform that everyone can see? So it's happening on a social media. Now, let me ask this question. I keep the message same and I change the medium. There is a friend who has put up a photo on Instagram. Will I go on WhatsApp and tell him, wow, looking nice? I share the link of the photo, you're looking nice. Does this make sense? How many of you would not want to do this? Is there anyone who would not want to do this? That, ma'am, we will not send a WhatsApp message. And there's some people are saying that, no, I'm not going to do this. Okay, why are you not doing it? I'm glad a lot of people are saying that, no, that's awkward, that's weird. Some people are saying that we'll do it. The same thing, when we change the medium, somehow the meaning changes. Somehow you're like that, no, this is not. Acha, let me further on take this. It is a written communication. We are keeping the communication same. Wow, looking nice. Will you call that person up and say, hey, you posted a photo on Instagram, wow, you're looking nice? How many people would keep the communication same and then you're like that you'll have to call them? So some people are saying that no. I would rather put down a phone and chat with a person than talk to them. So what's happening is when we can meet, we can say that. Only when we meet in person, we can do that. We should not call up the person. Let us see another scenario. Your friend is sitting next to you and posting a photo of him hiking on Instagram. And you're like, kya post kar raha hai? Then you look at, acha post kiya. And then you write the same thing, wow, looking nice. You already told him in person that you're looking nice. Why do you have to post it? No, that's basic courtesy. So now, why are we discussing this? This might sound strange to you, but this is a very important exercise. The meaning of the communication completely changes when the medium is changed. Trust me, no matter how hard I try in an online session, if all of us would be sitting physically in a class, the impact would be different. I'm not saying it will be better or inferior, but it will be different for sure. So let me give a small example. There are some students, I'm sure, who are staying away from family or are not residents of Delhi and are staying in PG or hostel for pursuing the course. Let's say you have a routine. Every day you call your mother or you call your family. For example, you make a call or they make a call and you answer a call. If any one of you, when your mother calls you just to check on you how the day was, you're like, you know what, mom, let's do this on a video call. And you put the phone down and you make a video call. The same conversation is happening. Nothing new. You're not going to say anything different, but you change the medium from an audio call to a video call. I'm just asking, do you think that video call created a different impact on your mother? Yes or no? You can guess it. You do not know. You can try it out. Tonight, you can try it out and tell me. It does. Does it make it more negative or does it improve the quality of the communication? According to you, again, this is guesswork, but you're saying that there is a possibility it has a positive impact. So what happened here? We just changed the medium. Sometimes changing the medium and having a better grip of every medium makes you a better communicator. So, there is something about Dhoni. I'm sorry, I'm going back to Dhoni again and again, but I just realized if you follow him, Dhoni doesn't have a phone or he's not active. He doesn't call people. He's not into messaging. He's not on social media. He doesn't party. Harsha Bhogle once said, he's a commentator, he once said that I've met Dhoni personally only once. Then how is he able to create that impact? It is said that Dhoni never shuts his hotel room. He's like, once the match is over, people will just go to his room and he'll have one-to-one. So he's great with one-to-one communication, but he's not there on social media. He doesn't need it. So communication with every medium has to be different. You can't have the same communication skills for different medium. Trying different mediums will have a different impact. So what is the exercise? Karna kaise hai isko? You can try it out. Let's say you are somebody who will write HBD on somebody's birthday. Pick up a call and tell them, I did not want to write it on social media. I just wanted to wish you for 10 seconds. Put down that phone. But that 10 seconds call, does it create a different impact? That is what the exercise is. So you can try this exercise. You can say somebody, let's say you tell your friend that you were really nice and that was a great thing that you did. Instead of that, you're writing a card and you're saying that was really great. So you go on somebody's blog or somebody's video that you've been looking for so many times. And I hope I made sense on how to do the exercise, right? Shall we move on towards the next exercise? Does anyone remember what the third exercise was? I thought students were taking screenshots. Well, for those who do not remember what the third exercise was, let me quickly go back to my slide. The third exercise was trying different mediums for communicating. Now, what does this mean? If you are verbal communication, you hate writing anything, this exercise is that write it down, write a mail. If you are very good with writing a mail and you're like written communication is your thing, you are going to go and talk to people. If you are somebody who feels very, very comfortable in one-to-one communication and hates going to parties, you will see it's a skill. We are not saying that change yourself. We are saying you should have that skill and I'll go to a party and say hello to people. Trying different communication can be public speaking. Let me give you an example of my own self. I am exceptionally good with public speaking. I hate communicating through videos. I don't enjoy it because there is no audience reaction. But what am I currently learning? Currently, I've given myself tasks and I have to make videos of myself because that increases my reach. So even if I do not enjoy the process that much, but I want to make videos of myself because that is also a way of communicating. So every student or participant can make a list of the communication that they do not necessarily enjoy, but you add. So let's say you are somebody who loves numbers, who's very good with verbal, but when it comes to making a presentation, you're like, who will design those PPTs? No, the visual component is as important. So if you are bad with making PPTs, try to make interesting interactive PPTs. That can be your learning. So we will try how to become better with different mediums of communication. I hope I'm making sense. That was the third exercise. Now what will I do is I will share the contact details of mine and I am now ready for questions. So anyone who has questions can please go ahead and ask those questions. You should ask questions. You can unmute yourself or you can also write it in the chat box. And if
as ma'am said,
right now,
open.
I'm sharing my details and you can send the questions. And one more thing, I just quickly want to add for those students who are going to do this exercise, क्योंकि अभी 1 घंटे में कितना exercise करोगे? In the later part of the day or on the weekend or whenever you get time, whenever you do those exercises, you can feel free to send me what you've done, and I'll be more than happy to give my reviews on your exercises. But I will not be able to respond on the same day. This is how you can reach me. And that's my mail ID there, social media handle, as well as the website. Anything that interests you or is related to this area, you can feel free to send me your exercises. Yes, please go ahead.
As ma'am said, we open the session for questions. Just use the raise hand feature if you wish to ask questions to ma'am.
I hope you've taken a screenshot of this and I'll stop presenting.
Seeing no question at the point, ma'am, we had filtered some questions from the responses we had seen. Okay, someone had asked. Ma'am, can you see the chat box?
Yes, I am actually looking at the chat box. What can be the major factors that contribute to someone's personality? Well, there are multiple things. So there is some theory that says that you're born with certain traits. There are a lot of theories that say that no, the personality that you develop is not necessarily something that you're born with. It is certain things that you learn, especially your early childhood and the kind of environment you are in. So even the country in which you're brought up, or the region in which you are, you try to incorporate that as well in your personality. So it is not just one or two things that determine. Let me just give you an example, Satyam. Is it possible the way you were in school or your primary school and the way you are in college is very different? The same person. What happened? Well, some life happened, some experiences, the environment, the kind of friends you have. So it changes the kind of person you become. And there are some people I've seen, they are so committed to developing. They're like continuously focusing, how can I be better? They completely transform into someone else. You can't recognize the person. After 3 years, you feel, who is this individual? And the person is highly adaptable and changes the personality. So that is very much possible. I think, let me look at, I hope I have answered Satyam's question. Prashita says, ma'am, you told us about the two traits, openness to experience and extraversion. Ma'am, sometimes it happens when you're open to experience, but being an introvert, you resist it. So, how to handle that situation? Oh, that's a wonderful question. Firstly, Prashita, before commenting or before asking the question, I'm sure once you would have felt that let me not ask the question, but you overcome that urge and you ask the question. So kudos to that. Now the I do not know that different people have different reasons of resisting it. One common thing that I find in most workshops is people think that I will look like a fool or somebody will laugh on me. These are the two major things. So taking oneself too seriously, we are just starting. We are not celebrities. You are not a president of a country. Nobody is continuously watching and making notes of what Prashita does and doesn't. So take it easy. If somebody laughs when you join with them, if somebody thinks you are a fool on a journey of self improvement, let them think. And third, I think unsolicited advice, but I want to give it to everybody who's listening in the session. All the self improvement exercises are effective only when the comparison is with your own self, not with others. Because the moment you start that, okay, which skills do I have? You feel this person has this skill, this person, don't do that. Compare yourself with what you were a month back, what you were today morning at 11 o'clock. Have you gone one step ahead? Great, that is great. How many people go like this? Their journeys are vertical or upward or going forward. So if there are two things that you can avoid thinking: one, that you look like a fool. Anybody who's learning, it's okay to look like a fool. And second, if people laugh on you, so what? Don't give that much power to another one, so that you can go ahead. So if there is any activity, enroll yourself in. If there is any opportunity, say yes to it. College is the place for that. Hope I have answered, Prashita. I think Unnati has a question. Being the most extroverted at school to being very nervous in the university. Oh, the fear of lagging behind. How can we build our self esteem or at least try on it? So, self esteem, I think there is one thing that I'd read which says that we never look at ourselves from other people's eye. That is in one sentence, if I can answer. We look at ourselves from our interpretation of who we are. So, especially in the years when we are still finding ourselves, we are finding that groove who we are. So, if we keep taking the inputs of other people, somebody says that you are very sweet and friendly, and we take it seriously. Somebody says that you are very bad or negative, and we take it seriously. There is no way of finding who we are. So, I think the best thing for self esteem is never look at ourselves from other people's viewpoint. Look at ourselves from our viewpoint. I hope that's not too cliche, but I found that sentence to work for me at least. So I'm sharing that, Unnati. Hopefully, I've answered your question. And another thing is that I think sometimes your past success should be a reason of your confidence. It should not be the reason of your fear. If we feel that, okay, we did something great at school, what if we are not able to repeat that? I think that pressure we should not take. Yes, I think Aditya, you had some questions that you had jotted down.
Yeah, ma'am. There was a few questions you had filtered, but
Yes,
I think the time runs out, so I think we'll be sending it on your mails or contact details.
not an issue at all. I'll be more than happy.
Ma'am, now I would like to welcome our president, Akansha Nehra, to be on board and share views about the session.
Sure.
Am I properly audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose vote of thanks. As William Arthur rightly said, feeling gratitude and not expressing it, it's like a wrapping a present and not giving it. Today, I take this opportunity to express my deepest sense of gratitude to all of those who make this event such a resounding one. On the behalf of Women's Development Cell, I would like to thank our resource person, Dr. Divya Soni ma'am, who spared time from her busiest schedule to grace not only this occasion or the event, our personalities too. Thank you, ma'am, for giving us the desire to explore ourselves. And I will not say we will become Dhoni of our lives, we will become ourselves of our life. And now I place on record our gratitude to our convener, ma'am, Dr. Janeshwari Gelanki, Dr. Manisha Verma, ma'am. Your encouragement has constantly beloved all our endeavors in the session. My heartfelt thanks to the heads of various departments, the faculty involved, and the volunteers for their valuable contribution. Thank you, everyone.